Sudanese ambassador in South Africa, Osama Darir, says that Khartoum will always appreciate Pretoria's efforts in finding long-lasting peace. He was speaking at OR Tambo International Airport, where 53 South Africans, one Zimbabwean and Lesotho national landed. They were rescued as the Northeast African country is facing political standoff. Khayelihle Khumalo has more.
Absolutely, quite a very important day as South Africans who were stuck in Sudan are finally back home. But also we do understand as well that there's one Zimbabwean national and also a Lesotho national who also were part of the group that arrived here at OR Tambo International Airport. And obviously, I mean, there's a great deal of concern because of the current situation in Sudan. Joining us now is the Sudanese ambassador here in South Africa. So thank you so much indeed for your time. Obviously, a very tough time for your country, but first and foremost, a very great deal of acknowledgement for the role that you have played in making sure that South Africans were evacuated today.
Thank you very much. I would like just to state in the beginning that as far as I'm sad for what is going on in my country, Sudan, according to the consequence of this war, especially in Khartoum, the capital of Sudan. I'm very glad to participate today with the Minister of Foreign Affairs of South Africa, Dr. Nalindi, to receive all these families who has been evacuated from Sudan safely and securely. And actually, we have been coordinating with the Ministry of International Relations, with the Department of International Relations. Since day one, we received a request, official request from the ministry, just to help evacuating around 400 South African and SADC citizens. And we communicated from day one with the emergency cell in Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Khartoum. They connected us with the emergency cell in Sudanese armed forces, and we managed to find like 2 passages safe to South African out of the country. The first passage, the main one, through northern Sudan towards Egypt, and we follow them until they reach the border. They finish their whole procedure until they just cross the border and be safe in Egypt. The same has been done with other small group which has been evacuated through the seaport in Port Sudan. They just suffer a little for 1 or 2 days until we settle the situation and the approval of their entry to Saudi Arabia. We have been in good coordination with the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia through their ambassador here, and we managed to get the required permission and to facilitate their documentation and formalities inside Sudan.
And I would imagine, Ambassador, that a lot of Sudanese are concerned about what's happening. They are yearning for peace and stability to be restored.
Yeah, actually, Sudan is a very peaceful country, and we have been passing very difficult time in specific period in the past, when the time of the war of South Sudan, and we settled that with a peace agreement. After that, we have some problem in Darfur, but we never experienced any kind of security challenges inside the capital. And now the incidents just erupted inside in the Khartoum state, and it is very congested state. The population of Khartoum is around 8 million. So the situation is a little bit chaotic according to the sophistication and challenges of these metropolitan cities, you see. But on the ground, I can affirm you that the Sudanese armed forces are doing and taking over and practicing their legitimate role just to restore peace and security and to defeat this rebellion back and to make everything in its place in a very short time.
And just before I let you go, Ambassador, what about humanitarian aid? What would be your appeal to countries like South Africa and many other role players as well?
Yeah, you see, the situation in Sudan really required a very close support, a very urgent support, and very friend. We need our friends just to come in to support Sudan, especially our friends and neighbors in Africa. And we cannot ignore the role of the South Africa. And as the minister mentioned, that South Africa will not leave Sudan alone in this problem. We are expecting a lot of effort to be coordinated with the Republic of South Africa, and we already have good communication with the government here to involve South Africa in overcoming and just finish the transitional period and to overcome the challenges of the transitional period. South Africa has a good experience in how it comes its own challenges in the past, and I think the minister and the government of South Africa will spare no effort just to help Sudan in such critical situation.
All right, Ambassador, thank you so much indeed for your time. Sudanese ambassador here in South Africa, really talking about the situation, but also in the main emphasizing that issue that South Africa, as one of the very strong regional players in the continent, will not leave Sudan alone in this standoff. So they do appreciate assistance. Khayelihle Khumalo, SABC News, OR Tambo International Airport.